This walk is relationship. Amen? Your Christian experience cannot be mechanical. It cannot be robotical. Hear me tonight. It can't be copied and it can't be a cookie-cutter thing. My marriage is not your marriage. Your marriage is not my marriage. But in your marriage as well as my marriage, if it's not relational, it's doomed. Yeah. Amen? So stay with me tonight. We're going to go on a journey. God's not looking for somebody who can make a lot of money and give to the church. God's not looking for these great preachers. God's not looking for a great worship team. God's heart is communion, and it has always been communion. What God is looking for is somebody that will spend some time with Him. What God is looking for is somebody that will commune with Him. What God is looking for is somebody that will come to His bedchamber and spend some time on their face and spend some time with Him and have a relationship with Him. And I guarantee you, I make a promise to you, if you'll do that, everything else will become nothing in your life. Every mountain will melt in His presence. Everything you're going through will be gone when you're in His presence. Amen. It's in His presence it all changes. God's heart is communion and fellowship. It's always been communion and fellowship, and it'll always be communion and fellowship. Not how much you can give. Your relationship with Him is not based on how much money you give to the church, or how good you can preach, or how good you can sing. Do you hear me? Woo! He just desires you to come into His presence and spend some time. Amen? So I want to look into a time tonight when Jesus had been crucified, and the disciples are in a period of transition. Everything's going on. All this uncertainty is in their life. They've been walking with this dude for 3.5 years, and all of a sudden He's gone. They're in a time of wondering, what do I do now? How many of you have ever felt that? Amen? All their preconceived ideas have been shattered. Jesus died. Life itself will teach you that our thoughts and plans at one point in our life will be altered. How many of you know that life happens? How many of your life is going exactly like you planned it? Raise your hand if your life is going exactly like you planned it. 20 years ago, I thought I was destined to be a career drug addict. Woo. It's just what I thought I was. And then Jesus shows up on the scene and He changes my plans. Jesus does not mind rudely interrupting your life. Jesus could care less about your 6-month plan, your 5-year plan, or your 10-year plan. He will show up and He will mess up some plans in your life. I love that. Give me dancing. Hey! I got it. I love it when God interrupts what I want to do. Woo! Good news. God can care less about your plan. Amen? You don't need a preacher to tell you that life happens, because we know that it happens. Stuff happens unexpectedly. I mean, we're freaking out. It just happens. But this is the time when Jesus had died. And for about 40 days, He appears and He disappears. He interacts with the disciples and then He goes away. There are several days when you won't see Him, and next thing you know, the dude walks through the wall. They're all in this room, and all of a sudden they haven't seen Him, and they're congregated in this room, and Jesus just steps through the wall. Man, what a time that would be, huh? Woo! So they go several days without seeing Him. He walks through the wall. He'll disappear, and He'll show up while they're fishing. What Jesus was trying to teach them, hear me tonight, that He's going to be there with them just as much in the present and in the invisibility as He was when He was visible. What Jesus is trying to teach them, though you do not see Me, I am still here. And though you do not see Him all the time in your life, I tell you tonight that He is still there. Jesus is always working behind the scenes in your life. Part of that is you being here tonight. Some of you don't know why you're here, how you got here. You just kind of just made it up and you heard about this place. But what has happened is you have been set up. God has been working behind the scenes in your life. And something may have happened to get you here, but God used it to get your attention and rudely interrupt your life. Because let me tell you something. Tonight when you leave, you will not be the same. Amen. You cannot be in God's presence like it was a while ago. Lay your head down and not think about it. And say, God, what was that? You're going to leave here going, whoa. What was that feeling?
Amen.
Honey, did you feel that? Ooh, yeah. God has showed up and interrupted your life tonight. Amen?
Cray, cray.
So what Jesus was teaching them, that He would be there in the invisibility just as much as He was in the visibility. He's going to be present even though He was unseen. Listen to me tonight. There is a temptation to go back to our place of normalcy when we can't see Him. I want to say that again. There's a temptation to go back to our place of normalcy when we can't see Him. So they spent 3.5 years with this dude, walking with Him in the flesh. But He was giving them revelation of His omnipresent nature.